Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And as per request on my live stream, we're going to be doing a Shadow Priest guide, a breakdown of the basics and the advanced tactics in order to succeed on this specialization and enjoy it to its maximum potential. Because I know right now a lot of players have been struggling on the Shadow Priest, so I wanted to break down some advice along my journey on it, as I've been able to break past the elite threshold and into the top 50 of Shadow Priests at this time. And if you want to make sure you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. So first things first, we're going to be looking at the stats. The stats I've been running is haste and versatility pretty much across the board on everything at that point. You do want to get your 4-set bonus. It's a lot of damage on apparitions and a little bit of damage on your Shadow Word Madness, which is great. I am running the embellishment where I cause devouring bolts to hit the target and it devours their secondary stat and gives you a little bit more secondary stats, is the one that I've decided to go for. I think you can also play the one that provides just intellect procs to your teammates. I think it's also good, but I've been liking the devouring bolt on my dot classes, and I also think it's just nice to try and get a little bit more durability or a little bit more haste out of it, just to get a little bit more cast speed, because faking interrupts can be very difficult on Shadow Priest. So that's the basics of the internet. The gear here, just haste, versatility across the board. When we look at the talents, this talent build that I'm currently running with Void Weaver, it might change on Tuesday. You can come watch my live stream if you want tomorrow when I test out Archon. But I think the talents stay pretty much the same, except you just switch Void Weaver to Archon. We'll kind of have to see how it plays out. But this is the talent build that I've been playing for the time at the moment. The main thing to note about it is this talent right here, Void Tendrils. This guy is really nice when you're fighting melee DPS and you've got to fear the DPS, and you'll see that in some of the VOD footage that we'll cover in this video later. However, if there's not a lot of melee running the reduced cooldown, or if the melee don't have a lot of fear breaks like Berserker Rage, you can run the reduced cooldown, and that's going to be great as well in terms of getting pressure and getting momentum. This build, I like running Driven to Madness when I expect to be attacked, which is pretty much all of the time, because Void Form is pretty much your only ability that does any relevant damage, and we'll go over that when we get to the rotation side of things. I always play Siphene because this thing is just the main win condition of any game that you're in, because you don't really do a lot of burst damage. So if you get somebody low, putting a Siphene on them to pause their health and prevent their recovery is really good. And then I like running Phase Shift because it just lets you fade incoming stuns or big attacks and be able to sneak in with a feather and be able to get a fear onto a target at the last possible second. So let's just cover the rotation now. We got the talents, you got the gear, the stats, the embellishments. Usually at the start of the game, this is like ideal rotation time, but if a melee is running at you, you're going to want to use your Tentacle Slam. This is going to apply Shadow Word Madness and Vampiric Touch, so we manually apply Shadow Word Pain, and then you're going to want to run away and try and cast this while they're running at you. You want to cast the Void Form, and then spam all your Shadow Word Pains. You'd obviously would want a Power Infusion at the beginning here. I also recommend that you use Vampiric Embrace at the start of the game, and then you're just going to rotate basically between Mind Flays and Void Bolts on your Void Form until you get enough insanity to be able to use your Shadow Word Madness, use your Mind Blast procs when you get them, use your Void Torrent. A lot of Shadow Priests though in PvP, you will start the cast and stop it right away. So you'll start the Void Torrent and then press escape to cancel it, because melee will kick you very fast on it. But Tentacle Slam is just a really good way to get Vampiric Touch on a target when there's a lot of interrupts. So you definitely want to be using that to apply Vampiric Touch, not so much using it just for its direct damage, because its direct damage is not that great. So using it to apply that, but you got to remember to manually apply your Shadow Word Pains also, and then obviously Shadow Word Death when they're in death range, or Shadow Word Death in order to avoid crowd control like a Polymorph or a Hex or something like that. So once you got that Void Form off, you're likely going to want to silence the healer. That's going to create pressure. The target will get low, and then you can Siphene on them. And then while you're getting attacked, you can use Power Word Shield just for an instant heal. And you can also use Flash Heal to bait interrupts. And if they don't interrupt you, you'll get damage reduction. So Flash Heal is an integral part of it. When you're in a real emergency situation, you can Desperate Prayer, when you can mind control enemies off your attacker or teammates as well, and kind of feather sprint around. But the basic rotation is just Tentacle Slam, Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Madness, and spam out whatever procs you get. Mind Blasts and Deaths. If you have Mind Blast, you want to press that over Mind Flay and just generate enough insanity to keep your Shadow Word Madness on the target. Void Torrent on cooldown. If you think you can avoid getting kicked, then fully channel it. If you don't, then stop your cast pretty early on it, because it is an ability that people will look to interrupt. And that's basically the gist of it. Just try and keep dots on as many people as possible while focusing in on your main prio target with your Shadow Word Madness and using your Tentacle Slams to refresh your Vampiric Touch. So now that we've covered the basics, we got the stats, we got the gear, we got the talents, We got the general rotation, the general vibes. We're going to take a look at some VOD footage at how this basically all comes together. Okay, so here we've got a lobby with an Arms Warrior, a Windwalker, and a Devourer Demon Hunter. This is pretty common, high intensity, high pressure situation for a Shadow Priest. Does a lot of burst damage, a lot of sustain, keeps pressure on you at all times, has a lot of disruption and interrupts. So this is going to be the ideal situation to cover in terms of VOD footage for what you need to be doing. So let's remember the basics. We want to use Tentacle Slam to get dots on the target while they're coming through. You got to be a bit careful if they're on their mount or they're charging, because it might miss. So we Tentacle Slam, Shadow Word Pain. You probably should have casted Void Eruption while moving around the pillar, because what you're about to find out is it's very hard to cast. So using Mind Flay to bait interrupts can be good. I go for Void Eruption and I'm trying to fake interrupts. We fake interrupts with Void Eruption. Use Power Infusion before you start fake casting so your casts are faster. Dump all your Shadow Word Madness like we described. Try and get Mind Blast on cooldown. And you want to try to make sure you Siphon when targets are low. So you see this warrior's at 50%. I Siphoned him at low health, silence the healer, and then we can create a bunch of pressure. We're using Tentacle Slam to keep dots on everything. We push in for a Feather Fear right there, and we're going to just get dots refreshed here onto the warrior, using the Tentacle Slam to get Shadow Word Madness or to get VT on the target if we want some burst, if I'm not having a hard time keeping dots up. Basically, he just dispelled the warrior, so we're going to Tentacle Slam again, keeping full dots, and we're going to try and pull around the pillar here and line of sight their attackers from their healer is my goal right now. But Demon Hunters and Metamorphosis, this is where they're going to hit you really hard, so I Desperate Prayer and I start spamming Flash Heals, and if they kick me, not too big a deal. I can just Power Shield, go behind the pillar, use Fade if I need to on the outside of it, try and maintain dots here, Tentacle Slam the dots back over onto the warrior. Demon Hunters are a tough target to take out as a Shadow Priest. You should never attack them. We should attack the warrior. I tried to Void Torrent around the corner and immune interrupts, but Demon Hunter was able to get to me. We're Storm Bolted. This is where you're thinking about using Dispersion. If you're stunned, enemies have cooldowns up, and your healer is CC'd, that's when you got to be thinking about it. Don't always just press it, because like right here I didn't need to monitor the cooldowns. There's no Warbreaker, no Metamorphosis. We silence the healer. We Siphon the warrior when he's low. Silence Siphoned into Fear. That's a nice clean setup. I use Fade to remove slows to get to the Shaman for the Fear, and we're able to isolate him and finish him off basically at that point. So your utility is just about keeping dots up, finding those windows to Siphoned and silence, and that's going to create you a bunch of pressure, especially at lower ratings. Like if you're really struggling trying to get your elite set, that setup will get you pretty far. The next thing is just trying to get your void form off successfully and making sure that you're using it on cooldown, which is something that I'm honestly pretty bad at as well, is because it's your big hitter. That's your big hitter. That's the ability people are going to try and focus on with interrupts. So you got to be really good at faking it or trying to cast it before they get in range of you. Can be another great technique in terms of utilizing it to its maximum effectiveness. And then we also have Life Grip, which can be really useful for helping an ally that's about to die or avoiding crowd control like a Hunter Trap. You can Life Grip your healer when they get stunned to your side and prevent them from getting trapped. But in this lobby, Life Grip's probably not going to be too useful just because you're going to get attacked most of the time. So here we're just staying behind the pillar, trying to pull them out of line of sight of their team. Would like to get a Void Eruption off before they get in range of me. Like right here would be a great time to just cast it because nobody's in my line of sight. So using it here a little bit late, but if you ever get an opportunity to Void Erupt, just do it. Grounding Totem sucked there. We got to snipe that with a Shadow Word Pain. We're going to move in on the Shaman and silence him. I see the warrior is getting low. I like using Vampiric Embrace just really early. You could honestly almost just macro it into your Void form if you really wanted to because it's just used in the opener. We move in on the Shaman. We get a Fear. We're playing that root talent against these melee that can break fears. So that way they get rooted off the pillar. And even though he gets Zerker Rage, who's rooted behind the pillar, got a little bit more pressure. We're just dropping in any procs we got. I can Void Torrent because I'm out of range of the interrupts here. Try and reset the dots here. Shadow Word Madness. Just reposition and pull away. And if you play like that, it seems like they're trying to attack the Devourer Demon Hunter, which I don't know if it is the right move on their part. If you're fortunate enough to get the situation where they actually attack the Devourer instead, you're probably going to be pretty happy. You're gonna have to focus on aggression though. When you're not attacked, in those rare cases that it happens, and you can see I'm using Mind Control also, just trying to stop their uptime. But you got to like push in a little bit more, get towards the healer, get the silences. Purge off Earth Shield is really effective strategy against Restoration Shaman. So trying to use Purge whenever we can. Snipe Grounding Totems. Gonna use a little Flash Heal here because I'm just rooted with the Grounding Totem. I can't use any other spells. But now they're going on me, and if they switch, gotta be a bit careful. But we can Fade Feather and get a Fear. And then I think they use Zerker Rage in the opener here. But it looked like he pre-tremor'd it. So pre-tremor is something you got to be aware of. I didn't get it right there, but you want to be sniping that with Shadow Word Pain and then go for the Fear. We Void Torrent, Shadow Word Madness, getting pressure on this monk here. We're going to pop Desperate Prayer because it's Zenith and it's Karma, so I'm going to take a lot of damage. So we're going to just pop a Desperate Prayer and use Flash Heal. So anytime I see enemy cooldowns up, I'm just immediately thinking Flash Heal, Flash Heal, Flash Heal because it'll make you survive their burst cooldowns, or they'll kick it and then you can cast Shadow. So it's a win-win for you. That's why Flash Shield, very important to have on the action bar here. Monk is chasing me. I'm using Mind Flay to try and bait interrupts, so starting the channel and then stopping it. Not a lot of players fall for it, though. You likely will have to use Void Eruption to fake kicks, so I'm trying to use Void Eruption right now to try and fake Wind Shear. Not able to fake it. If you do get kicked, you want to Purge, remove Earth Shields if you're ahead of the game, or you want to use Flash Heal. So I'm going to go for the cast again. We get the cast off successfully. This is our big window to do damage. Our Psyfiend is coming off cooldown. Remember the Psyfiend and your silence main win conditions while maintaining dots on multiple targets. We go for the channel there. We stop it. We got them both really low health. Push towards the Shaman for a fear. Psyfiend, double kill, able to clap it out and close out the match in that position. So they did switch to us ultimately. If you get really good at using Flash Heal and your positioning though and your fake casting, you can make yourself like borderline unkillable and people will actually stop attacking you. That's why these techniques, these strategies, they're very important to just kind of practice, iterate on, focus on the basics, just keeping dots on the target, Vampiric Embrace in the opener, and Flash Heal to be able to survive, and then just pump fake spells like Void Torrent, cancel it. Void Form with Power Infusion halfway through, cancel it. And just constantly focus on trying to bait interrupts and get your Flash Shield buff up if you get kicked, and just don't be afraid to cast. Because if you just sit there and you're just like panicked like deer in the headlights and you're not casting, that's where you're going to start to lose out as a Shadow Priest. So I hope that this guide is helpful to you guys. I hope that it's going to allow you some success. I know that a lot of my other guides have helped a lot of people climb up the rating, so I just wanted to give you guys the primer, the basic understanding of it that's going to get you like, you know, the 20% of the work that gets you 80% of the results, the most important part in terms of succeeding overall. So thank you guys very much as always for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.